Hey guys, Scary Stories here. I hope you're doing well. Tonight, I have 3 terrifying stories for you. Spoilers tonight. The last one's the scariest. But yeah, I hope you enjoy them. I've recently been diving into different creepy Alaska facts and lists and stuff like that. And there's some creepy stuff that goes on up there. 30 Days of Night, anybody? But before we get into them, I just want to say, in case you're new to the channel, I post videos like this every Thursday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I also try to sprinkle in shorts throughout the rest of the week, looking at ghost videos, ghost pictures, or just posting really tiny, short horror stories. I like to look through the archives of the internet to find old websites, forum posts, and news articles from the late 90s to early 2000s to share with you here. So, if you enjoy all things creepy, strange, or just slightly unsettling, maybe consider hitting that little red button down below. It really helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. I really love this little community we have going on, and I'd love to see it keep growing. But with that out of the way, let's get into the stories. I hope you enjoy. This is a story from a few years back. I was in high school at the time, and my mother had just passed away because of a car accident. And in order to get our minds off of things, my father and I, and a few of his friends, took a trip down to Copper River in interior Alaska. We lived in Fairbanks, Alaska at the time, by the way. We drove down, expecting to go dip netting. You can go ahead and look this up if you're unsure of what dip netting is, but it's essentially standing in a river with a big net and letting fish swim into it. Very Alaskan. Anyways, when we got to Copper River, we took a detour to go on a less traveled side of the river. This is where we would set up our camp. We drove our four-wheelers down the winding dirt path that was next to the river, oftentimes finding steep drops that would only be cushioned by the silty river. After settling far down the path, we all set up our tents and got ready to go dip netting. Now bear with me, this is just some context. After a long day of dip netting, we called it a night and rode our four-wheelers back to our spot. On the way back up, we didn't see any other campers. All the regular camping spots were completely unoccupied. We reached our camp and began to settle down, discussing our bad luck with fishing. We had just began to cook hot dogs when we heard a gunshot down the path we had just come from. Like I said, we didn't see any tents between where we had been fishing and where we were camping. Our campsite faced the river with a trail in between. If you took that trail to the left, you'd be going back to civilization. But if you took it to the right, well, it was simply wilderness. You can guess where we heard the shot come from. All 4 of us sit up, and Brian, one of my father's friends, suggests that we go check it out. We don't take out our four-wheelers, we simply just hike down the trail. This is due to them being very noisy, and startling whoever shot the gun probably wasn't the smartest thing we could have done. Brian and Robert both carry guns, and my father and I follow behind. I know this sounds sketchy, but trust me, you don't want to be asleep with people shooting guns around in the Alaskan wilderness, or anywhere really, for that matter. So after traveling down the trail for what felt like hours and seeing no one, we reached the tunnel that you must pass through in order to reach a good spot for dip netting. We can make out multiple figures on the other end of the tunnel, and they all seem to be moving. They seem to be dancing next to a fire, waving what we assume were the weapons in the air. We hunker down around the edge of the tunnel, peering in. Brian suggested that they must be drinking, and this seems like a logical assumption at the time. We talk about how it might be a good idea to approach them, let them know that firing guns in the middle of the night kind of makes us uncomfortable. Sounds corny and very unrealistic of an expectation, but again, the Alaskan darkness that conceals all during the night feels unsafe enough as it is. We eventually reach the conclusion that we'll just set up camp farther down from them and not take the risk. As we head back along the trail, we see glimmers of light scattered to the left. Headlights. We all duck into the bush, hiding. 2 trucks full of these people pass by us, them screaming like banshees. We waited them out, and after a long time of just sitting there, sometimes talking quietly, barely audible over the sound of the small waterfall nearby, we decided to go back to our camp. When we get there, we see our tents torn down, our fire put out, and our 4-wheelers knocked over. Our campsite's just completely destroyed. We decided right then and there to hightail it out immediately. There's only one trail out, and that's the way they went. This means that they could possibly be between us and the exit. This was obvious to us, but we needed to get out of there. There's no way we could stay here. That was completely out of the question. We bundle everything as quickly as possible, packing the torn down tents and attaching the coolers to the back of the 2 4-wheelers. And we headed out. The dirt path was tiny, and the truck would surely run us off the road if it were to come back during our escape. Miraculously, we make it out of there without seeing those people again. Needless to say, we won't be going back to Dipnet there anytime soon. So, this happened back in the early 2000s. I was on the road doing some surveying for a natural gas and oil company, and we got a big gig up in Alaska. Our spot was way the hell in the middle of nowhere, with nothing but a small landing strip and a small Inuit village nearby. It's so remote that the only way to get there in the winter is either by plane or track vehicles. Naturally, we started working at the beginning of January. Now, the main labor was stringing out miles of cable and geophones, which are just underground microphones. We all took the safety courses about the terrain and local wildlife. Being this cold, bears were hibernating and not an issue. But there was still plenty of moose to be mindful of, and a lot of lynx. It was basically just hours and hours of paperwork, which boiled everything down to just stay away from them and you should be fine. Cool, okay, I can do that. Fast forward to me and my buddy hooking up cables and talking about transformers or some shit, when we hear this blood-curdling scream coming from the trees nearby. Now, we'd been told lynx can sound like that, but it's way different actually hearing it, especially out in the middle of nowhere. It sounded like a couple of crazy old ladies killing each other. We were able to laugh it off after a few minutes, but damn. One night, when I was in high school, I was up late playing video games in my basement and I got hungry. I went upstairs to scrounge something up, but all we had was a bag of potatoes. I turned the oven on to preheat and I got a big potato out of the bag. I set it on a plate right on the counter in front of a window. As I was waiting for the oven to heat up, I ran downstairs to use the bathroom and to get some slippers. But when I got back upstairs, the potato was gone. The plate was still in the exact same spot I left it, and the oven was still on. Just no potato. So, what do you think of those? I think it'd be fun to do some more creepy stories from different states. I know a lot of people do that, but it'd be fun to do our own. Could have like Tales from Alaska Volume 1, Tales from Alaska Volume 2. You know, switch it up for different states. Tales from Maine Volume 1, Tales from Maine Volume 2. You get the idea. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Would you be down to hear more stories from different states that maybe don't involve ghosts or supernatural stuff, but more like creepy encounters and stuff like that? Anyways, I'll cut it there for now. Before I go, I just want to say, I hope you're doing well tonight, and I hope you're treating yourself well. I'm thinking positive thoughts for you, and attempting to send good vibes your way. And that's the noise that happens when you send positive vibes to people. So, you're welcome. But yeah, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.